Welcome to Frequent Miler on the Air. Today we're going to talk about whether or not it's a good time to sign up for credit cards. I made an argument in a blog post about saying basically it's not a great time unless this and that. So we'll get into that soon. First, I didn't say hello. How are you doing, Nick?
I'm here. I'm here too, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, all things considered. It's been a crazy week and really a crazy couple of weeks, huh?
Oh boy,
Just the world has become so different in like 2 or 3 weeks time, right? It's just it's amazing.
unbelievable.
And I feel like I felt like I saw some of it coming, but at the same time, it's still a shock. And so I got to imagine for people who didn't see any of it coming, so to speak, it is. It's unbelievable.
You know,
I'm pretty good, but yeah, wow.
I think it was just the last episode, maybe, where I said, "Oh, I think people would be okay going to the mall to buy gift cards."
Right,
And
right,
now that's just not happening. Obviously, at least in most, certainly in the states we're in. Maybe it's still
right.
happening in some states, but
Well,
in
nobody's
New
going to
York
Simon
and
since
Michigan,
they're all closed. So nobody's going to Simon
right?
malls.
Oh,
So
that's true. Simon Mall's closed nationwide.
right,
Right, right.
right.
So yeah, it's a totally different world. Um, did you prepare by watching, any zombie apocalypse movies or TV shows? Is Walking Dead in your repertoire?
I watched Walking Dead years ago, and I obviously didn't get all the way through it. I got through the first, I don't know, 4 seasons, maybe 5 seasons. So I do have at least somewhat of an idea of what to do when the walkers start coming. But so far, they haven't, at least, well, I say that, except I live in upstate New York, and so anybody who's read the news knows that a lot of New Yorkers have gone upstate. The ones that have homes, vacation homes, and things like that have done the same thing I would do probably, and left to go somewhere less populated. So that's of course caused a little bit of controversy at home. So I do have, I do have a little bit of knowledge of what to do. I don't have a crossbow, and I'm not a particularly good shot. So I may be in
Well,
trouble if that zombie
yeah.
apocalypse comes true.
So one of the things that was kind of glossed over on the show is how they kept their hair neat and trim,
Yeah,
because
not happening, right?
all the barbershops are all closed.
Right,
What
right. How did they
what are
do
you
that?
doing? It's your hair looks neat. Do
Well,
you have a in-home barber?
I do have an in-home barber, but she's been off the last few weeks, so I definitely am in need of another trim. But the secret is to just trim it as much as you possibly can, and then you can go a while before people start to realize
There
that
you
your
go.
barber shops have all been closed. So, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so,
I
so
was
that's
lucky.
that's a
I,
tip.
I I got my haircut just a few weeks ago, so I'm good. But my wife is getting to where she's getting antsy about it. It's getting longer than she likes. But
Well,
I imagine that's happening to a lot of people.
and
So
in one way that I'm set for the zombie apocalypse is that I live at the end of a dead end road, and there's like a
uh,
little river you have to cross with a little bridge. So like I'm set to protect the homeland, so to speak, for a
are you going
while.
to knock
So
out the bridge?
I could. I know I'm not going to because I do want to be able to get out, but and I want UPS more
You have to.
importantly to be able to
y-
come in.
Yeah, just at least rig it with explosives and a detonator switch so that you have
I'm
that
all
option
set.
at any time.
It could be done, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so you got to get your
So
wife, you got to
so
you got to order a set of clippers and get her going on that. Not that you don't look ravishing as always, but uh,
thank you very much.
digging a hole here. It's the boss. I just told him he needs a haircut. I mean, so it's a little
Okay.
different, but at the same time, not so bad because it's been nice. Been home, been with family, and so nice in the sense that that part of it, being able to spend more time with family, is nice. A family member of mine had posted at some point on social media that they were looking forward to the unprecedented chance to spend a month at home with with his wife and kids, which, on the one side, for a lot of people who are out of work, that's still very stressful and difficult. But on the other side, it's, at least if you're going to look for the bright side of it, that part is kind of nice, right?
Yeah, for me, my normal had been working from home while my wife went out to work and my son was at college. And so now I actually have a lot more company at
Right,
home while I'm working than normal. So it's kind of the opposite of what most people are experiencing. I'm
right.
experiencing more interaction, I
Right,
think, even
right.
in person, than I was before. But that's obviously unusual. Um, Most people are the other side of that, and
Right.
looking for ways to connect. And so we're seeing a lot of people doing. We did this with some friends. We did some just
I saw
online
that.
video happy hours. Grab a drink and meet up with a couple friends, and
How did that go?
it's fun. Yeah, no, it went really well. We've done it a couple times now, and it's a good way to stay connected with people that you're used to going out with. Well, you stay in, but at least get that social interaction.
Yeah, that's nice. I've seen a few groups of friends who've done things like that also online, and I think that's a great way to connect with people and being able to take advantage of the technology we all have. That's certainly an asset in terms of this kind of really, really unprecedented event that has cut us off from each other. I guess on the one hand, we're very lucky to be in the technological times we are, right? When you can face to face chat with people still, even from home. So that part of it's nice.
Seriously,
Good to be
that
able to do that.
makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't imagine like no internet, no no way to connect other than the phone. Perhaps would be even worse for people that are stuck at home right now. But thankfully they are staying at home, so hopefully it won't last as much longer as some people predict. Hopefully we'll be able to get through this, and if everybody is staying at home and taking advantage of those things,
Yeah, we can hope.
we can hope.
All right, let's move on to feedback time.
Okay, reader
To-
feedback. Everybody loves reader
yes,
feedback.
everybody loves it, and so does Steve.
So does
We
Steve.
have feedback from Steve today.
All right,
So
very
this is
good.
one of the rare times where it's not one of our two names. And
Somebody else left us some feedback. That's great. We appreciate that, Steve. Thank you.
Steve says, just listening to your pod from last week. I guess that's the cool way of talking about podcasts.
Little
Your
did
pod.
I know. I'm not nearly cool enough to know to call it a pod.
No,
Okay, now I know.
no, I didn't
The
know.
pod.
Now we know.
If you'd like to
He
listen
says,
to the
yes,
pod.
we are. He says, yes, we are out here. So, and still listening. So if you remember last week, I talked about how we didn't know if people would be listening because people had been listening on their drive to work or at the gym. And so with people not doing either of those things, it was a little unsure, but
Right.
Steve at least is listening, so that's
Good.
good news.
Thank you, Steve. Tell your friends.
Right? He says, one topic idea I had for you guys was maybe to reassess whether it's worth cashing out points in light of the current economic downturn. Obviously, those who need the money should, but for many who have hordes of points and would not get to the end of their stockpile for years, especially with the uncertain travel future, it may be worth it to cash some out and put in an index fund. I just figured it's going to be slow news for a while, so might as well share the idea. So I thought this was a really good comment question. So we have talked a little bit about why you might want to be signing up for cashback credit cards instead of points and miles credit cards, but this is a different one. This is saying you've got a huge pile of ultimate rewards or thank you rewards, and is it time to convert them, some of them, to 1 cent each and invest it? Because the alternative is they're sitting there doing nothing and certainly not gaining in value.
Right. Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I almost wrote a post this week, and who knows, maybe I will yet, but about uses of points other than travel that don't suck, because most of the time when you're when you're redeeming points for things other than travel, the value is really poor, but every
That's a
now
good
and then, I've been mulling it around anyway, because obviously one of those options is to redeem points at 1 cent each. Sometimes you can redeem for gift cards. Sometimes that value might be a little bit better. So I definitely think it's something that's on people's minds. And yeah, when I look at it and you're from that standpoint that you've got millions of points that you're not going to use anytime soon, I think you would be very smart to cash them out and invest them right now, because of the fact that we're at such a market low point. I think I saw somebody on social media at some point say, hey, you want to buy stock in Microsoft at the 2016 price? You can do that right now. So, whatever it was. And, I bought a few shares of a few things in the last couple of weeks, and some of them, of course, I didn't buy at the very bottom for anything, but some of them were up like, 20, 25%, 30% over the last week here. And, that's not
Right.
necessarily going to last, but it's probably going to go up in the long run from where it is now anyway, I think. So even if it goes down some more, probably have a better chance of that appreciating. And if you have millions of points sitting in your account, those are not appreciating. So you're going to have time
Right.
here, it seems, to collect without burning any points probably for the next couple of months anyway. Or maybe you're going to plan some of next year's travel, but you're not going to burn as many points as you ordinarily would. So you got plenty of time to earn those points back right now. Yeah, I think it is probably a good idea to cash out some. I wouldn't cash out everything, but cashing out some makes sense. And if you're in that situation with membership rewards points, then I think it really makes sense to open the Schwab Platinum card right now, because with the Schwab Platinum, you can cash those points out at 1.25 cents each into your Schwab brokerage account. So you're getting even better than 1 cent each in value, and then you can just invest that right from there. So I think that'd be a really smart play for anybody sitting on millions of
Right.
points. Do you agree, disagree?
I totally agree. What do you think? And I totally agree too that you don't want to get rid of all of them. You
No.
want enough so that when you're back to traveling, you have enough to do whatever you want, right?
Right.
So, do you think we could agree to
To a
a
number?
rule of thumb? Like you should keep X number of points?
That's a really good question. So I think you would have to come up with that as X number of points per passenger, right? Per person. Because if you've got a family of 4 or a family of 2 or a family of 6, it's going to make a difference as to how many points you want to keep, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you want to come up with a number per passenger, and that's a really tough question because you want to be able to. I don't know. One of the things I enjoy about miles and points is knowing that, and I say tomorrow in the general sense, not in the March 2020 sense, but I know that tomorrow I
right,
could get just about anywhere in the world with the points that I have,
right.
and I enjoy that sense of freedom, I guess it is, or
Yeah,
also the
yeah,
sense that if there
for
was
sure.
a reason I needed to get somewhere, I know I could do it. So I want to have enough points to still maintain that feeling, but I definitely don't need an excess
Well,
like millions. So I'm
yeah.
not sure where is
Right.
that
Well,
point.
also, if let's say the new Emirates first, that we suddenly saw that it's wide open for award availability, which it hasn't been like hardly at all.
Right.
You want to know that you've got points there, so you could jump on that and experience it, right?
For sure.
Even if
Yeah.
you don't end up doing it,
Right. You just want to know that you could
you
have.
want the ability to have done it, right? Right.
Like I could have been in that suite. Yeah,
That's right.
I agree. So I feel like you do want to keep a pretty healthy balance, and really want to probably be diversified with different currencies still. But in any one specific currency, like I don't think 1 million points is necessary in any of them, right?
No, I agree.
So
Certainly not per
well, certainly not
person,
per
per
person.
passenger.
Yeah, not per passenger.
So I'm thinking maybe around 300,000 per transferable points currency. Like I wouldn't want less than 300K membership rewards per passenger, or
Per
less
passenger,
than
yeah.
300K thank you,
So
or
so what are you
Chase.
basing that on? What
I,
are you,
I sort of
just
pulled that
pulling
out
it
of the
out of the
air.
sky? Okay. All right. Well, you see, I look
Yeah, I
at it
don't
and I'm
have
like,
a
yeah, I don't know.
tight.
Like, I figure 85K gets you basically anywhere in business class on Cathay Pacific, right? Isn't that the top end of their band with for a One World award?
Right, for
85
business
for
class, that
business
sounds
class.
right. Yeah,
So
so that's one way.
one way.
Mhm.
So round trip, you're looking at 190. Now, 190 also would get you around the world one trip with ANA, like a pretty long one, because
A really
115
nice one.
gets you 20,000 miles
Right.
around the world. So 190 gets you really far. So I mean that would cover you, or 170 actually. That is, I did the math wrong.
All right. So you're
170K.
thinking more like
200.
200K
I think 200
ballpark.
ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think per
Yeah.
passenger. I think that's enough.
I could go with that, I think. Yeah.
I mean, you need some access because you need hotels and that kind of thing. But if you got multiple passengers, then that extra 30 or 40 or 50K per passenger should help you cover that. So I feel like if you got that much, 200 per person, I think you're okay. I don't know as though I would feel like I have to cash out everything but 200K, but I think 200K per passenger leaves you pretty safe. No.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's true. I mean, if you're someone though who's looking for international first class, then that might be
Right?
a
No,
little
no,
bit
no.
tight, especially for multiple people round trip kind of thing.
Now, what about airline
But
miles? Like, do you feel safe holding airline miles right now? Or do you want to still
well,
maintain?
what alternative do you have? I mean, they're not worth squat.
Right.
for anything else. So,
Get a lot of magazine subscriptions, I guess.
I mean, if Delta Sky Clubs were still open, you could go and drink those premium drinks at a good 2 cents per point value, which is a nice. That's one of the best uses of Delta Sky Miles. If you didn't know that, but
one of the highest value anyway.
right. Well, good
Leave
point,
it to you to
point.
decide whether or not it's the best.
Whether that's a good idea or not.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I mean, I think your airline miles, you're kind of stuck with them until travel comes back.
Are,
right?
Are you nervous about that? Are you worried at all?
No, I'm not. Are you?
No. And no, because I'm not in the position where I have many of them in a particular airline. But I feel for folks. Like, I got an email just the other day from someone who had transferred points from, I think, membership rewards to, maybe it was Flying Blue, and booked a bunch of trips, or booked a trip for a bunch of people anyway, that it of course has been canceled now because of the travel ban. So now he's stuck with all these Flying Blue miles that didn't necessarily want Flying Blue miles. You just wanted those flights. So so I feel like there's a lot of people that are stuck in that situation. And if you are, if you have your Delta miles or United or American, they're going to be okay. They're going to get bailed out and they're going to be fine in the long run. So I don't think those miles are going anywhere. But I don't know if that's the case for every airline in every country. So
no,
especially some of these more niche options. Like, I got some miles in Hainan Airlines right now that I figure are probably
those goodbye.
Probably done, right? I mean, those are gone. So bye, see you later. Unfortunately, and so if you're in one of those kinds of situations, I don't know. Do you just try and book something now? Book something out of Europe, hoping that EU 261 business saves you when the airline goes under or something? I don't know. Like, is that going to help you at all if you have a flight booked for next year?
I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I mean, because I think if the airline didn't go under, I mean, and we're talking about really under. We're not talking about filing bankruptcy, but still carrying on the way airlines have done many times.
Right.
We're talking about totally going under to where their miles are not worth anything. And so if you really knew that was going to happen, then maybe pre-booking something makes sense. But if you don't think you're likely to fly it, I think that's just causing you aggravation down the road. Then when they don't go under, then you got to figure out how to cancel that flight and pay the change fee or not.
Are there any transfer partners that come to mind that you would be particularly concerned about holding large numbers of miles? Not because you're choosing to transfer them in, remember, but of course because people have gotten their flights canceled, and so now they've got a bunch of Life miles, or they get a bunch of Flying Blue, or they have a bunch of whatever it might be. Or is there any particular one you would be concerned about?
Yeah.
I'm guessing your answer is going to be no, but I've just thrown the question out because it came to mind.
So one that, it's not a transfer partner. I mean, one that we know is likely to devalue, we don't know for sure, but in about a year, is Alaska. And so if you had, maybe if you had gotten a lot from Marriott travel packages or something, that might be a concern. I have a concern with that, that I'm sitting on a bunch that I got that way, and also through Virgin America when they merged into Alaska. And so I don't know, by the time I'm ready to use them, will they be worth anything near what they are today? My guess is probably not. But on the other hand, it doesn't, when you have that many miles and points of different currencies, it doesn't really bother me that much, because I know I can turn to something else if that happens. And there'll probably remain some good sweet spots with Alaska miles, even if the ones that we think of as the best ones right now, even if those go away.
That's an interesting one to bring up, actually, because I have a decent chunk of Alaska miles because of travel packages also. And I used some of them last year, and I was a little, I don't know, I wasn't unsure whether or not I wanted to use them because I've been holding on to them for that, perfect Emirates redemption or something, even though the value isn't great, or for a Japan Airlines first class flight, ideally. So I've been hanging on to some, and I used some of them, but I said, okay, I'm going to save enough to, fly a couple passengers in first class or blah, blah, blah. So I do have a chunk there, and I figured, okay, before they join One World, I'm going to book something. And now, of course, I'm not booking anything right now. So
Right.
I guess
Right.
I guess it's going to make sense to keep an eye on availability as we move forward. The scary part is just I have no idea what schedules are actually going to fly. I mean, I would think
Right.
that by January, February, we're more or less back to normal. But at the same time, I don't know what that looks like with airlines cutting like 80, 90%, sometimes all
No.
of their flights right now. It's going to take a while to get
Right.
back to
Right.
regular, schedules,
Well, I
no?
don't I don't know which airlines will ever go back to regular. Some of them, in fact, I'd be surprised if we don't see a number of airlines, a number of the ones that I wrote about this week about like flying first class because the first class awards are available in January and February of next year. I'll be surprised if we won't don't see some of them deciding there's no reason to put those jets back in the air because they're costing them too much and they're not getting enough first class passengers that are paying passengers.
Right.
That's just my guess of what's going to happen, and so that would be really unfortunate. But there's already been an industry trend towards business class without first class. Like we see a lot of Cathay flights that are entirely, business class is the top end, and so that's my prediction that we'll
Mm-hmm.
see more of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's probably true, and I think even when this coronavirus situation abates, and when we've kind of gotten a handle on it, I think that it's going to take a little bit for people to feel confident in traveling again, even when it becomes quote unquote safe. I think it's still going to be
Yeah.
like a slower trickle back into everybody traveling as in the same comfort that they did before anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if schedules also are reduced somewhat, just because demand is going to be lower, not only for those first class passengers, but across the board. I think probably for a while, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, what we'll see, this should be interesting. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think the impact will be on hotel points? Because hotels can't easily cut back capacity,
Right.
so the big resorts and everything, I fully expect we're going to see outrageously low cash prices, and probably they'll be slow to change their award categories. Like that won't happen as quickly
Mm-hmm.
as cash prices change. And so there's going to be a while where it's not going to make sense to use our points, I think.
I think that's
Do you agree?
probably, yeah, very very good take on the situation in terms of like that's very observant. I think that's really going to be the case, and I think that makes me happier about my situation with the Venture card and the fact that I got that ability to redeem towards Marriott gift cards for more value. But I think it also is
Oh
going to
yeah.
make like the Venture card and any other similar cards where you can redeem the
Mhm.
points for travel. If Barclays ever wants to bring back their Arrival Plus, I think that now would be a good time for that, because I think that those will become a better value for redeeming for hotels. Of course, cash back also, earning cash back and using that to pay for hotels will be good. I think there'll be some decent opportunities in terms of like Marriott properties being off peak, or maybe Hyatt properties being off peak, just because there's so little
Mhm.
demand. So I think we might see
Sure.
some
Right.
of that. But like you said, even at off peak rates, it's going to be too slow
It,
to catch up with the dip in prices.
I think so. So, one area where we might see some exciting opportunity is you wrote about Hyatt Privé
Right.
and how you get $100 credit and free breakfast and all those great things that are like the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts. And for that matter, Fine Hotels and Resorts might get more
Sure.
valuable too, because these luxury properties might be routinely inexpensive to book, and
Hmm.
at that point, those programs, to the extent that they keep them up, will be really nice way to get a lot more for our money.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think so. I think that they will be a particularly good value, and I also think we've all called the Prestige Fourth Night Free benefit kind of dead, and in the one sense it has been, because you can't earn loyalty points and Elite Night credit and all that kind of thing. But if the cost of stays drops tremendously, maybe it'll be worth using that benefit and foregoing the loyalty benefits, because you could just pay for breakfast too
yeah,
if it's cheap enough. So that kind of benefit might might become valuable enough. Not as good as Fine Hotels and Resorts or Hyatt Privé, but in the right situations, that certainly may be worthwhile. And I also think award availability, whether it's on points, and I should mention, actually, while we're talking about cash prices being low, Hilton points might become more interesting at that point, because having Hilton points, usually the Hilton prices are tied to the cash prices. So the number of points required often anyway is
That'll be
related
interesting if that happens.
to the cash
Yeah.
prices. So there might be some good opportunities with Hilton points, especially with fifth night free. So that might be good. And I think airline award availability is likely to be pretty good, because there's going to be less competition for those seats for a while, I think. Uh-oh.
Oh, he's rejoining. There he is.
I am. And here I
All
am.
right.
Yeah, so I'm going to switch my camera here. It seems like it didn't switch. So
I think the
hopefully
dots in the top, you might be able to. Oh,
Yep,
there you go.
Am I? Okay, great, because it hasn't changed on my side yet. Did it change?
What do you mean?
Am I centered right now?
Yes.
My camera. Yeah, I
That's
am.
weird that
on
you
my
can't
side,
see
I'm
it.
still.
Huh.
No, I'm still seeing the other camera. So, but that's good. If I'm centered on your side, at least one of the videos is going to come out well. So.
Right. Although I have to say, a lot of the time you've been blurry and choppy. So the internet on one of our sides is not going well.
It seems to be mine if I'm the one that got kicked out there. So,
that
my
seems
apologies.
likely.
Hopefully the podcast folks won't know any different. It'll sound the same as it always does.
I've been wondering, can we get you, the T-Mobile like 5G and have you use that as a hotspot? Would that work better than whatever internet?
Maybe.
I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
maybe
you'd have to
getting
look
some
at
5G.
into whether the coverage for 5G
Right.
is where you tend to
Right.
be, because I've looked it up for here in Ann Arbor and they don't have it at all in this area.
Yeah, probably not at home yet. But I do usually use T-Mobile 4G, although I noticed when I got disconnected there that my phone had connected to the Wi-Fi. So I think it might have been sharing the Wi-Fi as a signal, and the Wi-Fi is not as good as the 4G. So
Got it.
So anyway, all that technical mumbo jumbo that most folks are probably not that interested in, but the 5G might be a good idea, though. It might be a way to go if we get the service in our area. I'll have to take a look.
Yeah. Let me know about that.
Okay.
All right. So we've
So-
been rambling about various things, but
We have.
we had a topic for today, which was whether or not this is a good time to sign up for rewards credit cards. So I posted this morning, relative to when we're producing this video, it was this morning, my thoughts on that. So a number of blogs have said, if you're going to sign up anytime soon, you should do it now, because the offers are about to drop. That's the guess, and I agree with that sentiment. I do think that any promotions that the banks were readying, they're probably all on hold right now, and so once the current elevated offers run their cycle and the promotion's over, I think they'll drop back down to the normal, sort of like, if you think about like Southwest cards, their sort of normal unpromoted rate tends to be about 40,000 points, I think. So I think we're going to see most cards drop to those kind of sad 40K, 50K, depending on what they are, amounts. And yeah, but I don't think that's going to last forever. I think that what's going to happen is, in a few months or 6 months, whenever it is, whenever we're all free to travel again, the travel providers who have credit cards, co-branded credit cards, they're going to be eager to get us back on the flights, in the hotels, on the trains, whatever. And so I think we're going to see some fantastic promotions at that point. Now, I've argued before, and I still maintain this. I think that we're going to see a lot more promotions come directly from them. It'll be like, stay in our hotel, stay in 2 different brands and get 25,000 points, things like that have nothing to do with credit cards. But I do also think that co-branded credit cards are likely to see increased offers. I don't predict that for things like Chase Ultimate Rewards, Amex Membership Rewards necessarily, because that's just the bank deciding what to do, and they've, I think they've had pretty darn good offers up until now. I just don't see them going way above where they're at now. So so my stand on all this is if you if you want to get the best offers, signing up now might not be the right way to go, especially for those travel rewards cards, the hotel ones, the airline ones, because better things might be coming. I also pointed out, though, that if you need cash now, signing up for cash back cards now makes a lot of sense. I don't necessarily see those going up a lot in the future because of this whole thing, because again, those tend to be the bank cards, not the travel cards. And I also pointed out that there's some cards, like the Chase Ink cards, where you could sign up now, and even if the offers go up, you're not locked out of getting those. So the Chase Ink cards are not subject to those 24-month or 48-month rules that Chase has for other cards. So that's sort of a summary.
To be clear, they are subject to the 524 rule. You can't have more.
Absolutely.
You can't have opened more than 5 cards in the last 24 months to open, but you can open the same card again in fewer than 24 months.
That's right.
Assuming you're under 524.
Yes.
So just to be clear, if you want to get another ink cash, you've got an ink cash card, you want to get another one, you don't necessarily have to wait 24 months to get the second one, but you do need to be under 524 when you apply.
Right. Good point. So, okay. So you don't agree with me, right?
No, I don't. I think you're wrong. I mean, it's tough. It's tough being in your spot because I know that you've made a few predictions this year. And so far, if we take a look back at your track record of future predictions, pretty much you've been on track to get each one proven wrong within the next week. I'm thinking we're going to see like a big decrease across the board, like tomorrow, kind of a thing. If it follows Greg's tip, well, no, because that would not make sense. That would be sort of the opposite. See, you're taking both sides of it, so it's a little difficult to like come up with one uniform thing. But here's the thing: so on the travel card side, what you're saying is the offers are likely to decrease, and that later on they're going to be desperate to get us back. And so the co-branded cards, the United cards of the world, and the Marriott cards, and the Hilton cards, things like that, are going to increase their offers. But I'm going to say totally wrong on that.
No, I'm going to go off camera for a second to blow my nose. So
okay,
keep talking.
Good. Okay. Everybody appreciates that. Everybody watching anyway appreciates that. The listeners probably don't mind either way. But at any rate, so listen, the cards like the Delta cards right now, they're like huge offers on the Delta cards. They're not going to get much better than where they are now. Or the United card, the business United card that's at 100,000 miles right now on the welcome offer. It is just, I can't see it getting any better than 100,000 miles when they want to bring people back in the fold. So I don't know what it is that they're going to do to improve that. By the same token, I look at the hotel cards and, I mean, are we really going to see a Hilton card that gives more than the Aspire card does right now, between 150,000 points, the free night certificate, the two $250 credits each year? Like, I mean, what could they possibly offer that's more than that? I just can't see what they're going to do. In the Marriott cards, we've seen the 100K offers. I think they're at maybe 75K right now. So maybe we'll see 100K come back, but I can't imagine we're going to see much more than 100K Marriott points. I don't know, like, what are these better offers going to look like? What are they going to offer us to incentivize us to come back to those cards?
All right. I'm going to say something that's going to sound contradictory.
Oh, okay.
I agree with you that we probably won't see higher offers, but you're still wrong.
I'm still wrong.
You're still wrong. And here's why.
Enlighten me, teacher.
What I think we're going to see with the Aspire card in particular, that's where it'll be particularly exciting. I think we'll see the 150K and no first year annual fee. I think they're going to be eager to get new credit card holders into the fold, and I think having a big annual fee in the first year is a big dissuader to people trying it out. And, you know, that used to be very common, no first year annual fee on cards. And that slowly trickled away from us.
It really did, yeah.
I think we're going to see that come back. And so that'll be big for that one. For others, what we'll see, so the Delta cards, for example, they dropped the $100 credit, the statement credit that they
Mm-hmm.
were giving us before for the reserve and the platinum cards. Something
Mm-hmm.
like that'll probably come back, you know. So yes, they probably won't increase the number of miles because they're already at a point where it's like they probably just couldn't afford to do more of that. But I think they'll do things like no first year annual fee, and that'll be pretty exciting for the Aspire, the Reserve, another 400, well now $550 card. Platinum cards are what, 250 now, I think. So having that fee waived will be huge as well. So look
That's
for
an
that.
interesting take. That's an interesting take because I think also you have to consider the fact that when you're looking at like 100,000 miles as the welcome bonus, as we've seen on a few cards, the United card, I think the Delta cards all together, a couple of them are 100K after the first year, right? And the Southwest, one of the business cards right now is at 100K. Is there going to be a measurable difference for them if they make it 125K? Are they going to get more people
Right.
to apply?
Right.
I don't think there's going to be enough to justify any additional cost. I don't think there's a number that's high enough that you're going to suddenly draw in a whole bunch of people that weren't going to come in at 100K anyway. So I don't think there's a lot they can do in terms of the welcome offer on at least a good handful of those travel related cards.
Right.
But
Well, oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, so one other thing that might change is there's been a trend towards bigger and bigger minimum spend requirements. So you have these like $15,000 minimum spend requirements, and that's also got to be a huge hurdle for the average person, especially during what's likely to be a tough recession. So maybe those will come down, and that would be very interesting as well.
That would, and I think that would be really maybe where we'll see it. Now you might draw me into an agreement because that I think is extremely likely. Some of the trend really over the last couple of years has been A, bigger welcome bonus spending requirements, and B, longer term spending requirements. There have been a number of cards that have gone to spending X amount over the first 6 months or the first year. And I think cutting that back will make a difference, especially for people who suddenly find themselves in a totally different economic position than they anticipated being in 3 or 4 months ago. So I think that probably is a good point. But now I'm going to pivot to cash back because you said that the cash back offers, if you're looking for cash, now is the time because they're unlikely to get better. And a logical part of me would say, well, that makes sense. I mean, the banks know people want cash right now, so they know they probably don't have to offer a heck of a lot more, and they'll still get people applying. But on the flip side, I thought it was pretty interesting that this week the referral offer, not the public offer, but the referral offer on the Blue Cash every day went up to like $225, which the Blue Cash Preferred, the more expensive card, offers like $250. So it's only $25 less for the card, that has no annual fee. So they increased the welcome offer, at least for referrals, not for the offers that they're marketing, but at least for referrals, they increased the offer to an amount that's higher than usual and almost as high as the next card up anyway. And I wonder if maybe we will see some of that.
That's interesting.
I'm kind of surprised by it, but I thought that the timing was interesting.
Yeah. That's interesting. Maybe, I could imagine Amex is looking at. So you said it's a no fee one that has the better.
It's the no fee one, yeah.
So I could see them looking at it and saying, "Where's our opportunity for growth?" Well, right now it's in no fee cashback cards. That might be what they're saying, and so let's get people in the door right now and up the offer a bit to do that.
So if that happens, will that not put some pressure on Citi to institute a welcome offer on the double cash card? Might be a good time to wait the double cash card out a little bit and pick that up if a welcome offer comes out.
It's possible.
I think the point you make about the waived annual fee is a good one. I think that certainly is going to be a hurdle, the cards that have an annual fee the first year. But I think that now we're discovering a point that is equally relevant, that cards that have no annual fee at all are probably going to be more appealing to people. And maybe we're going to see better offers on those as it becomes a more competitive environment, right?
That could be. That's interesting. So I'll give you that.
So right for anybody who didn't catch that.
he stumbled into a slightly good idea.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
So that's interesting. So I mean, you can't take that one data point and necessarily extrapolate out, but it's an interesting indicator. So there's a possibility that waiting, particularly on the no fee cashback cards, might result in better offers down the road.
I think they might get more competitive. I think those no-fee cards
Yeah.
might be more competitive. I also wouldn't be surprised to see. It depends on how bad of a recession this becomes. It
Yeah.
depends on how long this drags on and how bad things become. If things don't get horribly bad, then perhaps those cards that offer 0% introductory rates will also
Mm-hmm.
become a little bit more competitive. Maybe they'll only look to compete on the time period where you get 0% APR, but maybe they'll try and compete on a welcome offer to go along with that. So I think there could be some opportunity there in terms of the welcome offers on some of those lower end cards. Now, are they worth a 524 slot? That's a whole nother argument altogether. I don't know, as though I think they are. But on the flip side, if you need the cash now, then of course they are. So, or at least, of course,
Well,
they're worth thinking about.
yeah.
There's a
Well,
number of good
and
chase cards that
there
are
are
worth.
some that are business cards, right? So
That's true.
those are ones that wouldn't count towards 524 unless they're from Capital One. But so okay, so cashback cards. Do you think the Chase Inc. no fee cards are likely to see an increased offers? I mean,
I mean,
they've been for quite a while now $500. It's really 50,000 points, but they
mhm.
advertise it as $500 with not a lot of spend. Is that going to get better?
I think the key question becomes what kind of financial situation most people end up in, and what the bank thinks about that. Because there was the speculation that you quoted in the post about this topic, where you said approvals may become harder to come by for business cards, especially as people go out of business, and
Mm-hmm.
certainly some of those people will default on money that they owed because they don't have a business now.
Right, right.
A state like mine in New York State, where every business was forced to close, basically, that isn't an essential one. Suddenly people went from making money every day to zero revenue, zero coming in to pay the rent and the various
Yeah.
bills and expenses. And surely some of those folks are going to go out of business, or at least not have the money to cover the expenses in the short term. So is the bank going to take that and tighten up the belt? Or are they going to take that and say, okay, well, we need to get some new customers in here now who are willing to start a business and try something and get a small business loan and that sort of thing, and they want to grab a credit card? I think that it's possible we could see an increase in offers there. I feel like Chase tends to be a little bit more conservative than competitors in some ways. Obviously, it seems like an odd statement considering the fact that they debuted the CSR with 100K. But I think generally speaking, we don't see as much movement in the welcome offers on the Chase branded cards. It's always the co-branded cards that we see a lot of movement on. We don't usually see much movement in the welcome offers on the Chase branded Ultimate
Yeah,
Rewards
but
cards.
part of that might be, I mean, they're fantastic to begin with. You
Right.
don't see very many $500 offers out there for no fee cards. There are a couple other ones. There's the Wells Fargo and I forget what the other one was. Oh, the Bank of America, but that's a temporary increased offer, I think.
Well, and the thing with the ink cards is that not only are the welcome offers good, but the cards themselves are good in the sense that
Yeah.
the unlimited offers 1.5 points everywhere, which Chase points are valuable.
Yep.
If you're looking at that as a cash back card, the cash back
Then
equivalent
not so
isn't
much.
necessarily so good. But
Right.
but if you're looking at it to use the points down the line, that's a great return on everyday spend. And then you look at the ink cash and you get 5x at your office supply stores, non-telecom, and things like that. And I mean, it's a great card to have in your wallet, especially with no annual fee. So I feel like those cards seem like no-brainers. And in the past, I've always said I wouldn't advise somebody open one of those. Instead, I would tell them go after the Ink Business Preferred and earn the larger welcome bonus, and then later on downgrade to one of those.
Right,
But
right.
of course, as you noted, the public offer on that card now requires a lot of spend.
Exactly.
And that may turn some people off. Of course, as you also noted, the referral offer on that card right now is still only the 5K spend required. So you could still open that Ink Business Preferred right now at the lower offer and then downgrade it down the road to one of those no fee cards. But on the flip side, you've written in the past also about the fact that the no fee cards don't have the same requirements in terms of the credit line that you get approved for. And so
That's true. They're easier to get approved for. Yep.
easier to get approved for those. And so a $500 bonus on a card that's easier to get approved for and doesn't require a ton of spend and also offers a good ongoing rate of return, I think that those ink cards are well worth consideration for anybody who's under 524.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see where we're at with the different
Okay.
areas, right? So
All right.
Chase Ink cards, if you think you could get approved for the business preferred 80K offer right now, or you could do enough spend easily to get the 100K offer, either way, that's a great one to go for now. That's always
sure.
been a great one to go for. Continues to
And
be.
always will be.
And if you want the 80K one, do it now because we don't know how long that referral offer is going to last. And then you'll probably be stuck with the one that requires $15,000 spend. So we agree on that. I think we agree that if you would rather have one of the no fee ink cards with the 50K offers, that's totally legit to go for now. Because truthfully, again, if we see a better offer on those later, you're still not disqualified from getting that. Though they don't have any 24-month or 48-month rules either.
And if that better offer comes out soon, then Chase has historically been
Chase
pretty
will
good
match
about
it.
matching the new offers. So
Good
if that
point.
comes out in the next 90 days, then send a secure message and say, hey, listen, I just applied for this and I see this better offer now. And Chase is usually pretty good about matching that.
Right. Okay, so I think we're in agreement there. And then with other no fee cashback cards, I think we're saying, or I'm going to put words in our mouths because we didn't say this earlier, but
okay.
I'm going to say if the current offer is less than $500, it probably makes sense to wait and see if it goes up. But I don't see the $500 offers going up from where they are, like the Wells Fargo or the Bank of America one. I don't see those going up for the non-fee cards again.
Now, I say you're probably right about that. One to keep in mind, don't sleep on it, is the Spark Cash card, because while right now the offer I think is the standard $500 after $4,500 spend, I think there have been times in the past where either targeted or publicly they've offered much higher cash back rates on that. And if you're looking for cash, or the miles card if you're looking for miles, but they've offered as much as, what was it, like $2,000 if you did 50K in spend, and the targeted offers in the mail sometimes have been $1,000 after 10K spend. So there've been some very big offers on that card. But apart from that, I don't think we're going to see higher than $500 from anybody in terms of a cash back bonus. I don't think.
Okay. All right. So cool. We've come up with kind of rules. Now let's talk about those the airline and hotel cards for a minute.
Well, you know what? But before we pivot to that, I'm going to ask you a tangentially related question about those points. So I know we talked about cash back, but we're talking about ultimate rewards and that sort of thing. Do you have any fear of those points becoming devalued, either from the bank end? We've seen, for example, recently here, a couple of loyalty programs like Best Western dropped the ability to redeem points for gift cards, and Southwest, I think, also now has dropped the ability to redeem your points for gift cards. So might we see any restrictions on those points in terms of whether it's redeeming them for statement credits or redeeming them for partners? Are we going to see partners leave any of those transferable programs? Do you have any concern about that?
I don't, but is that because I just haven't been thinking about it lately? I mean, that's always a concern in some ways, but on the flip side, every now and then we get thrown a bone with like a new transfer partner or a discovery of a great sweet spot for a program. Like you found all these great uses of Turkish miles that makes the transferable points, in that case City points, much more valuable. And so I kind of feel like the trend over time has been up and down, and I don't know that this travel recession that we're going into is going to change that. Do you think there's a reason to think that this will cause the points to be worth less?
I don't know. I mean, I asked the question because it came to mind when I first reported this week that Best Western points were not redeemable for gift cards. Somebody commented and said Southwest points aren't either. And when I initially went to my Southwest account, I saw that you could still redeem them for gift cards, but later the same day it seemed that they did cut that off. Indeed.
Oh, interesting.
But when that report first came in, my first thought was, oh, well, I got to check the credit cards too and see, can you still redeem Chase points for gift cards and City points for gift cards? Is it like whatever company handles gift card fulfillment for a lot of these that stopped that all of a sudden, went out of business, stopped processing orders, sent all their people home to work from home, and they just aren't doing it. I wasn't sure what the deal was there, but then it did make me wonder, what changes might we see in terms of how you can redeem points long term from a recession. So no, I don't have an answer. It's just something that popped into my mind recently. And again, thinking about the people who've got points now stranded in airline programs that they didn't want to in the first place, I started to wonder, well, what happens if that program drops out as a transfer partner?
Well, so, I mean, what I should have said when you first asked this is, yes, the points are going to be worth less because the value of using cash is going to go up. And so yeah, if you have this Chase Sapphire Reserve, you still have the 1.5 that you could book the travel. So that value won't go down, but the value in transferring points to Hyatt or to United or whoever will reduce for a while, right? So
right.
I think we do know that. But the thing you're saying about the gift cards, this is interesting because my guess of why that's happening is this is like the Great Depression run on the banks, that people are looking at their points programs, their Southwest, their Best Western, and others, and saying, these are worth nothing to me now. How can I just cash them out right now? And the way to cash them out is at very poor value, but is to get gift cards. And so they were probably seeing people doing that, and my guess is the accountants just said, we can't afford to do this right now. That we need people holding on to those points.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that for sure with Best Western, particularly because it's a relatively minor player in all of this, and if they've gone from however many millions in revenue they must do in the average day or week or whatever it is to all of a sudden like almost zero revenue, then I mean, I could see where they just didn't want to send that money out. They couldn't keep bleeding money on that and paying salaries and everything else. So it did make sense to me that maybe they would cut it off for that. But then, like you said, the whole run on the bank kind of thing, is that going to happen more and more with other issuers that don't want to, or other loyalty programs that don't want to allow that? So I wouldn't be surprised short term if hotels in general stop doing the redemptions for like Marriott Moments or gift cards or that sort of thing. It just makes sense to me that they wouldn't want to send cash.
Well, again, I think it'll be gift cards that they'll stop, because Moments is still something you can't really dump all your points into Moments and hope to get anything out of that unless you are really great at scheduling the far future, right? But
gift cards, you're right, probably are the one.
But gift cards, at least there's some value to you no matter what. You've got something that you could buy other stuff with once you get those, and there's also tangible cost to the hotel program or the airline program to get you those gift cards. They have to buy them at whatever rate they buy them in order to get them to you, so it costs them. So I would be surprised if we don't see that with. And
theoretically with Chase and Citi, maybe that's a cheaper redemption for them than a statement credit.
I think so. That's why I don't think we'll see it certainly not with Chase, where you can everybody can just redeem the points for 1 cent each. With Citi, those without the Prestige card have to kind of trick the system into giving 1 cent cash each. So I can imagine a situation where there's a run on gift cards with them. And Amex too, because people don't necessarily know about the Schwab Platinum way of getting points out. So I think that's possible. I think we're much more likely, though, to see more airlines and hotels do the same thing as what Southwest did, and Southwest and Best Western. So yeah.
So all right. So you're not particularly worried about Chase points or Amex membership rewards, that sort of thing. So we've determined that cash back, maybe wait and see if the offers go up. But something that's like at $500 now is probably not going to go up much. So that would be a safe level to apply for now if you're looking for cash back. The lower offers, you may wait and see if they increase a little bit, especially on the cards with no annual fee. So all right, we agree generally on that.
Okay.
So then airline cards.
Right. So you were arguing again. I said wait on the airline cards. And I should mention that one of the reasons for waiting is not, which I mentioned in the post, but I didn't yet mention here. It's not just that offers might go up, but that the value of having the card is not there right now. So a lot of these travel cards offer free check bags. They offer, lounge access. They offer a lot of things that are great when you could use them. None of us can use them. We don't know when we'll be able to use them. So why start the clock ticking right now unless you think the offers are going to go down and stay down? So
And I think
that's
that
my
I think that there's a good chance that the offers on like the United card, for instance, any card that's at 100,000 airline miles
yeah.
or 100,000 or more hotel points, I think that those are not likely to go up. So I feel like those might be worth considering now, especially if you want to earn some of those points to book some of those first class or business class sweet spots that Greg has been writing about that are available for next year right now. We're seeing decent availability on lots of carriers for rewards next
Yeah.
year. As we already mentioned, little uncertain as to what the schedules will be, so you may have to be able to be adaptable and adjust plans if flights get canceled. But you could get a great quick infusion of points. So you may not get great benefits right now, but you may position yourself to get a great flight later on if you pick up that bonus.
All right. So let's say hypothetically, all right,
Uh-huh.
your cousin Esmeralda comes to you and says, "You know what? I've got some free time. You've been talking about credit cards. I'm going to sign up for some credit cards. Are you going to recommend the United card or what were the other ones you mentioned that have increased
Like
offers?
Southwest is 100K.
Southwest.
Aspire is 150.
It's a great time to pick up Southwest points. Ezzy.
Well, Ezzy. I'm going to come back to the Southwest points, so I'll leave that one. But like, is it a great
Right.
time for United or Hilton or whatever else? I mean, is it a great time to have them right now? No. Is it a good time to pick them up so that you can book travel for next year? Maybe, because I don't think that you're going to get more points in the long run from cards that are 100K or over. I would say for a welcome bonus right now. You're not going to see better than that probably because I don't think there's enough incremental benefit for them to increase the welcome offer. The only thing that might get better is maybe they will reduce the annual fee or eliminate the annual fee for the first year. So
Or
your
reduce the
gamble right
spend
now-
requirement.
or reduce the spend
Or both.
requirement, or both. The but the gamble then becomes okay. So $95 gamble, for instance, on an airline card that's offering 100,000 miles maybe right now. To me, I think it's worth the gamble because I think that it's likely that the number of miles are going to go down for a while. And somebody brought up a point actually that by some measures, you're better off getting that clock ticking right now because we don't know how long this whole thing is going to last. So if you got to wait 24 months until your next welcome bonus and you get that bonus in right now, then get that clock started for the next 24 months to pick up the next card at some point after the recession is over. I don't know. What do you think? You think still wait on the airline cards?
Oh boy. So okay, all right. So is it really 100K for a $95 card? But is that with 15K spend required? I don't remember what the current
I
offer
said
is.
95, and to be honest with you, off the top of my head, I can't remember whether or not the United Business Card was 95. I think it is, but I always have to look. I don't memorize each one of them, so
Yeah.
I have to look. So no, I can't recall, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, I mean, all right. So I think you're right. So I've always been a big proponent of go after the low hanging fruit. And so if there's a 100K offer, especially for a business card that's not going to add your 524, and you're already under 524, you're currently under 524, there's not much harm to picking that up because you're right. I don't see that offer going up, and there's a really good chance that if you wait, I'm sure that offer will come back, and maybe it'll come back with lower spend requirement or no first year annual fee, so it'll be slightly better. But chances are good that if at some random time you come back to it and want to sign up, it won't be as high as 100K at that random time because that's an occasional promotion, not a standard type of thing. So
I'll agree with you. Standard offers don't go. Here's where I can agree. Here's where
Okay.
I can extend the olive branch. I can agree. It's not worth applying for any standard offer on a travel card. And when I say any standard, I'm a little hesitant to say that because I feel like the Aspire card may still be worth it. But on the flip side, the point you make about waiving the annual fee in the first year is a really good one. So I.
Oh man, you froze up on me, man. So you're probably on the podcast not hearing him frozen up, but he's totally frozen on the video here. So Yeah, and he's gone. Another F-bomb moment. All right, putting on my reading glasses here. Rejoin session. Here we go. And it switched my video. Wow, we are just not having good luck today. Is the sound coming?
Oh,
okay, so
there
this
you are.
time I dropped off. I don't know what happened
Bummer,
there.
dude. That's
Yeah.
okay. Hopefully people heard what I said. You didn't, but everybody else did.
It depends how we publish this, I guess. But yeah, I mean,
I guess so, yeah.
we might end up. I think we're gonna have to publish your recording of the video if we want to get that.
Which is too bad because anybody watching my recording is going to see me totally off center because I have a webcam plugged in and Greg is seeing me on the webcam.
Yeah.
But you guys on the recording are seeing me on the camera over here. So
why don't you just in case give us the 10-second version of what you just said?
Okay, the 10-second version of what I just said is I don't think it's worth considering any of the standard welcome offers right now. So a 40K, 50K kind of a airline offer or like a 75K hotel offer. Yes.
10 seconds, we're up.
Oh, 10 seconds. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Not worth. Agreed with Greg. Sorry, I didn't realize what the hands were. Agreed with Greg on that.
All right, cool. So
okay, so that covers our cash back and that covers our airlines. And so then your transferable currency offers, worth it, not worth it right now. Not going to get much better, you said.
Certainly on the ink cards, yeah. And I don't think so. This is kind of similar that with the standard offers like the Chase Sapphire, Preferred and Reserve, the City Prestige and Premier, they're all at their kind of standard offers. I think it could go either way. If you want the cards, get them. If you don't want them, wait, because I am not anticipating big changes there. Although what we have seen with City during change times is they sometimes just remove those sign-up offers altogether. So maybe with City, if you want one of those cards, maybe this is a good time to get it. I don't know. What do you think? Because one problem with City, their thank you cards, you start a 48-month clock. So if you get that City Premier 60K offer now, and I'm wrong, Greg's wrong, and next thing you hear is there's a 120K City Prestige offer, you're going to hate Greg because you're going to have to wait 48 months from when you earn the bonus, the day the bonus hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, but the highest we've seen so far on either of those cards, correct me if I'm wrong, was the 75K offer on the Prestige that was like, I don't know, a year ago or more than a year ago. It was 75K for $7,500 spend. That's the highest we've seen on a thank you card, right?
I think that's
At least
true.
in my memory.
Yeah, I don't remember any higher ones. True.
We've seen. So I don't know how much higher than that it's going to be. I don't think we're going to see a 120K offer. Maybe City could do 100K, but I don't even see that coming because they've waffled between offering like 50 or 60K and offering nothing for like the last several years.
Right.
And so right now they're offering the 50 and 60K bonuses on those cards, I think. And I don't think that it's likely going to get much better. And I think that you are totally right. I will totally agree with you. So everybody take a note right now. Screaming Lincoln's writing a note in the timestamps here. He's going to say, hey, Nick admitted Greg was totally right. I think Greg is totally right that there is a chance that one or both of those cards lose the welcome bonus altogether for a while. So I think now is the time if you want the thank you cards.
So I should have had that in my post. I didn't think of it when I was writing it.
You should have. You should have. Now or never on the
Bad
thank you
me.
card. I think you're right. And I think it's a good enough chance that it's not worth gambling and hoping that maybe it gets better. I think it's more likely to get worse.
Right. And for those who don't know, so the Premier, the $95 Premier card is the 60K offer. The $495 Prestige card is only a 50K offer. Go for the Premier. Even if you want the Prestige long term, you could upgrade to the Prestige, and that most likely you'll keep the same credit card number. It won't reset the clock on your 48-month thing of being able to get another welcome offer. So that's the way to go with that one.
I agree. I think we're more likely to see a welcome offer introduced again on the double cash, but I think we're more likely to see the welcome offers on the Prestige and Premier disappear. So yeah, get the Premier now.
Yeah. All right.
Agreed there.
Cool.
Okay, so we're in agreement on those things.
We totally agree.
All right.
About some things.
Sort of. Partially. Totally.
I think we
totally
more agree than disagree anyway.
Totally agree in part. Yeah. Exactly. More agree than disagree. So that's good. That's good for my employment and for your happiness.
You're coming along.
Very good. Very good. So that probably brings us to the question of the week, which I said I was going to come back to Southwest, and I am in a second, but I actually have 2.5 questions for question of the week. It's kind of like a double.
2.5 questions?
It is, and I asked the supervisor of the question of the week department if that was okay, and I got approval.
She gave you approval for that.
But sick burn for anybody who didn't catch what Greg was saying there. He was suggesting that my wife was the manager of the supervisor of the question of the week department.
Was I wrong?
And I didn't even run the
Don't
Aspire,
answer that.
which I know is a mistake. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this one. So there's 2.5 questions. I get to cheat like that because, hey, I get to make those decisions. So
yes, you do.
One of them, the reason that there's 2.5 is because the first question is really a softball question, but it's something that we're not going to probably talk about in the headline of a post, even though it's come up before in posts.
All right.
It's relevant to many people. So it's a softball question, easy question. And I'll talk about it if you don't want to, but I think that it's one worth mentioning for people out there who are looking for some extra cash. So Stuart, is it Backelchuk? I guess Stuart Backelchuk. Stuart writes on the post actually about those credit card bonuses. Says this is a little off topic, but here goes. Wells Fargo has a great offer for opening a checking account, but has a very high direct deposit stipulation. Do you know what Wells considers a direct deposit that counts towards the 4K direct deposit stipulation? Thanks.
Well, I mean, you should definitely answer this because you've answered this exact question before, I believe, when you talked about your SoFi account. So why don't you?
Yep. So I think we did mention it probably on a podcast recently, but it's worth repeating here that quite a few of the bank account bonuses, and I'm talking checking account bonuses that require a direct deposit, don't really require a direct deposit. They say they do, but often a transfer from another bank account will trigger the direct deposit requirement. And Wells Fargo in particular, I happen to know did, because I had direct deposit going in, but I also sent some money in from another account, and the welcome offer on that account posted the day after a transfer from one of my other accounts that completed the requirements. So I know that it was my deposit rather than the direct deposit that triggered it. So again, the point here is that yes, a transfer from another bank often triggers it. And if you want to figure out what triggers the welcome offer on a checking account bonus, go to Dr. of Credit. They maintain the resources on that. So you go to Dr. of Credit and their bank account bonuses page, and every bank account bonus that they list a link to data points as to what qualifies as a direct deposit. And again, if you look at the terms, it's going to say you got to have a direct deposit of your pay or Social Security or whatever else. But if you're suddenly out of work or you're not making enough in order to meet the deposit requirements on that one, then that can be a really good resource transferring over money from another account and looking at Dr. of Credit for data points, because most of them work, but not necessarily from every bank. So with Wells Fargo, I know there were some banks where it was successful and some where it wasn't. Off the top of my head, I think the one that I used was Capital One. I think I moved money from a Capital One 360 account.
I had this memory of a SoFi where you talked about moving money from SoFi to
and I did that also. I opened an account with a Northeast regional bank called M&T Bank a few months ago also, and they had a $500 direct deposit requirement was all it was there. And I moved money from my SoFi Money account, my SoFi investing account. I took $500 from that. I had $500 cash in my SoFi investing account that wasn't invested, and I moved that, did like an ACH push from my SoFi account to the M&T account, and that triggered the bonus. Next day, I got the $250 bonus for that account. So there are lots of different banks out there. I was addressing Wells particularly because that was the question here. Because I know it does work with Wells Fargo because I did that bonus a couple of months ago. So I definitely know for sure on that one, also on M&T, also on a number of other ones that I've done over the years. So yeah, if you want to go after some easy money via bank account bonuses, you can often just move your own money around from your own accounts and trigger the direct deposit requirements. It's not going to work with every bank and every issuer, so you got to look through the data points of Doctor of Credit for that.
So go to Doctor of Credit, tell them Greg and Nick sent you. You'll get treated right.
That's right. That's right. So that was my half question, sort of.
All
so
right, that felt like a
questions,
full question to me, so now I'm kind of worried.
Okay. All right. Well, so let me back up. So now I got to scroll a little bit to where I had the other question, but I thought it was a good one about Southwest, in fact, because we talked about Southwest before, and I said that I would come back to Southwest. Let me just quickly find my... There we go. So this was the question from Brands, which also came up on that same post today, related to the topic we've been talking about, but a little bit different. So Brands says, I applied for one of the Chase Southwest personal cards with the 75K miles offer in early February with the intent to apply for the Southwest business card to get the companion pass. I'll probably still apply for the business card at some point this year, but that companion pass is worthless for me now, ... So if you're in that situation where you are halfway to a companion pass, what do you do? Do you apply for another card now? Do you wait for next year?
I would totally apply for the other one now.
Why?
Because I'm sure we don't know what Southwest is going to do yet, but I'll bet you anything that they'll make your companion pass last longer than it would normally, and probably what they'll do is give you what we all hope they'll do is give you a whole nother year. And so, I mean, that would be an amazingly generous thing for them to do. But I think that's not at all improbable. And so I would totally gamble on that chance that you're going to get, not just, let's say travel reopens. I'm going to just pick a date, let's say in September or something. So you get a few months this year with your companion pass, you get all of next year, and hopefully all of the year after that. That's what, if I was in your position, I would get that other card. What about you?
Now, here's why you got to be glad that there's two of us on this show, Brands, because I am not going to steer you wrong.
Nick's going to tell you why I was totally wrong.
I can tell you why Greg was totally wrong.
All right, let's hear.
You got to ask at least two people. So Greg is totally wrong on this one, and I wish he was right. But no, I think it's bad advice, and this is why. And I think that it was the obvious answer. It was the first answer that I came up with was the same one as Greg. And I think that that's the clear, obvious answer. Yeah, Southwest is probably going to do something customer friendly with that companion pass, but we don't know what it is. And there's at least a decent chance that you're not going to make use of it at all this year. So whatever you get out of it this year is probably a wash. Right. I say wait until next year, because if you apply for that business card, for instance, right now that one of the Southwest business cards is offering a $100K welcome offer with $25K spend required. So with just that one card, you earn enough points for a companion pass. I don't think that offer is not going to be around later this year. I think that maybe it'll go away for a little while, but I think it's at least very likely that offer comes back, or some sort of an offer where you can trigger a companion pass with just one card is likely to come back late this year in time for you to earn enough points for the companion pass in January of next year and know that you have a companion pass that's valid for 2 years. So rather than gamble, because Southwest might only extend those, let's say they extend them 3 months or 5 months or 6 months, then now earning it today is going to give you a pass through mid 2022. Whereas if you wait until January to earn it, you got it through the end of 2022.
Not only that, there's what I really, when you said I was wrong, here's what I thought you were going to say.
Okay, all right.
I thought you were going to say that it's equally likely that Southwest will cut in half the requirement for the companion pass. In which case, your one card is enough, probably. I can't remember what the scenario was, as how many points he got.
Also, highly possible.
Yeah.
Highly possible.
So,
and that would be an awesome solution, wouldn't it?
That would be. That would make a lot of sense for them to do it that way, I think. So
in 2 out of 3 scenarios, you're better off not listening to Greg's first suggestion.
That's right. I agree with you this time.
2 out of 3 scenarios, disagree with Greg's first scenario.
So, the one exception I'd say is if you're in a situation where you expect you're going to be over 524, and so you won't be able to get any Southwest cards later, then you might want to just grab it now and yeah. But other than that, I'd say Nick is 2 out of 3 right on this one.
Ooh, look at that. Screaming Lincolns. No, I was right twice today. Twice, 2 times. Rarely. I did say it happens even for a broken clock twice a day, huh?
Twice a day.
The broken clock has done okay today.
All right. Well, you've got one more question, though. Let's see if we can go for 3.
Well, so here's my half question. So another half, or maybe this is a full, I guess, because I said the Wells Fargo is a half. Who's keeping track? So the related question is sort of, should people who have Southwest points right now and aren't going to get the companion pass right now, should they be thinking about I was going to say
getting gift cards,
redeeming them for gift cards, right? But of course now you can't. But if
right.
that were to come back, I saw this week you can redeem Southwest points when you can redeem them for gift cards for about 1 cent each. Is it worth just cashing out Southwest points if you're not going to get to the companion pass now? And you're not going to get any value out of the companion pass. I don't know. Is it worth cashing them out at 1 cent each?
Only if you're so spooked by this whole thing that you don't think you're going to be traveling, right? I mean, the Southwest points are still, because of a weird quirk in how they're done, they're still worth usually about 1.5 cents each, sometimes more depending on what you're booking, and so that's a big drop in value by getting only 1 cent value each. So I think it kind of goes back to actually the feedback that I read in the beginning. Does it make sense to cash things out and invest them? But gift cards you can't invest in most cases. I'm assuming these are not Visa gift cards that you could buy money orders with or anything like that. So yeah, I'd say, yes, cash them out for gift cards if you're like, I'm done with travel forever. But if you think you're likely to be back on the Southwest on a Southwest flight next year, then save your points and travel and enjoy it.
All right, Screaming Lincolns, get ready for time number 3. All right, you ready? For Screaming Lincolns is the person who does the timestamp. Okay,
does Nick disagree with me?
Nick is right again. Well, disagree is a strong word. I don't know if I disagree, but you can't do it right now because they took away the capabilities. So maybe it's not even worth discussing. But on the flip side, it definitely got me thinking when I saw this from Brands, and I thought, well, okay, so he signed up for an offer that required $2,000 or $3,000 spend, and he's got 75,000 points now.
Yeah.
I think it really kind of depends on what you think you're going to do in terms of flying over the next couple of years. Because I look at that 75,000 points and I say, well, $750 in gift cards, if you can get them for places that are useful to you, because I saw lots of restaurants, and I didn't go through the entire list to see everything that was in there, but there were enough stores that probably most people would be able to feel like they got close to cash value. $750 is a good bonus for $2,000 or $3,000 in spend, like versus a cash back card.
It is.
That's a pretty good bonus.
That's excellent. Yep.
I think actually it might be worth considering that on some of those offers like the Southwest offer, especially if you got stuck in that limbo where now you're like, oh man, like, am I going to bother opening another card for the companion pass? I think Greg is right that there is a chance that they'll reduce the number of points required for it or that they'll extend it. So I don't necessarily think I'd give up on Southwest, but maybe you're in the boat where you're like, listen, I've got respiratory problems already. I've got some of those underlying conditions that make me nervous. I don't think I'm going to fly for a while. There's another chance to get another bonus in the future. Maybe $750 now, bird in the hand beats 2 in the bush. I don't know. Maybe you go ahead and cash that out if that opportunity comes back.
All right,
I'm just being contradictory at this point, aren't I?
Well, not really. I mean, you're making a really good point, and I'm tempted to say you're right, but I don't think I could say that the third time today. But
I think that there's a chance that one card will get you to the companion pass again in the future. So I think that it's less bad than I would normally say. Listen, we're not the kind of people who would ever normally tell you to cash out your airline miles at 1 cent each. So I don't think anybody listening expects Frequent Miler to be the blog that tells you to cash those out. So I'm not really telling you that I think that that's usually a good idea. Usually I would say you want to be able to get 1.5 cents value each. I have no idea what Southwest's schedule and route network and everything is going to look like when we come out of this. If you could actually get $750 out of those points today, I think it's at least worth considering that. You can't right now, but if that comes back, it's maybe worth considering for some people.
Nick has a really good point there, and in fact, now let's tie all this together. In the beginning, we talked feedback. We said we came up with we said more than 200,000 or 300,000 Ultimate Rewards points, transferable points. You should be thinking about withdrawing the extra as cash and investing it now. That was advice we gave, yet I have no personal inclination to actually follow that advice. Do you?
To cash out the points when you're
Yeah.
over. More and more I do have
Okay.
some of that. Yeah, especially because I've been investing a bit over the last year here, and I've been looking at the market every day, multiple times a day, and thinking about it a little bit more, and seeing other people in my social network too who've done some of this cashing out, and thinking, if you do have those really big balances, I would be inclined to do so, though. But to be honest, I spent a lot of points last year, and my balances aren't at that point where I feel like I have enough per passenger right now. So I'm working on it, though. And if I get to that point, then I think I might consider cashing.
All right. Yeah. It's one of these, for me, it makes total logical sense. I should do it.
You should.
But
I agree.
I have this like emotional attachment to it. It's really hard to do. Really hard to do. So
you see, I got up to the millions of points in one particular currency, like 2-3 million points in one currency. It would not be emotionally difficult for me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, done. Putting that in a Vanguard fund right now.
Right. I'll try. We'll try. Okay. We'll do some. You're going to have an intervention or something and get me.
I mean, there's
to do
only
that.
so many times you can go to Necker Island in 1 year, Craig. So you gotta consider, how many times am I going to do that? If I'm not going to, then I should put some of those in fund somewhere and let them grow a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I have an attachment to my points too. I like the idea.
Totally makes sense. I should do it. I'm not arguing that. I should do it. I probably won't.
I'm not going to judge you for that.
I don't know. An intervention might be fun, though. Well, we'll do that on a future episode.
Okay. All right. We'll chill.
All right. Well, time to say goodbye.
That's right. It is time to say the goodbye song. So I want to thank everybody for being out there with us today. If you'd like to hear more about what we've been talking about, you can go to thefrequentmiler.com/subscribe, and you can check out all the different posts that we've been writing. You can subscribe to our email newsletter, get into our Facebook group, find out where you can find us on social media. Again, that's thefrequentmiler.com/subscribe.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.